Hi there crew members, Starfleet personnel. Welcome once again to another deep dive into the interior build of the original USS Enterprise 1701. In this video we have baby dorsal and we have daddy dorsal, the 1/25th scale dorsal section of the USS Enterprise. Are you ready for this? Before we get into it though, I'm just going to address a few of the very common questions that are coming again and again in the comments section and also over on other platforms. One of the most common questions is, how am I going to support this enormous model, 40 feet long model? Good question. All of the models that you've seen up to now on this channel in these videos, as most of you know, they are all test models, okay? So it's all cardboard, very lightweight test models. Some are more finished than others, but the finished model will be built on a metal and wood frame. So that's how it's going to be supported. Because I'm focusing on the interior, I'm going to build parts of the outside shell of the ship for aesthetics, but mainly it's focusing on the interior. So it's all going to be supported on a metal and wooden frame, very strong, very stable. The interior parts of the ship, the detailing, is going to be made of high quality architect modelling board supported on that metal frame. Okay, so that's that. Secondly, where is it going to be stored? It's going to be stored not in my apartment, that's for sure. All right, so it's going to be stored in a specific location, which I'm going to work as the project develops to turn into something where people can visit and see this thing for real, in front of the faces, not on a computer screen. You'll be able to walk under it and look up, and then go up on elevated platforms and look down and go very close and just see the whole thing. For those people that might not live that close, I will be doing detailed videos of the finished thing, complete with camera walkthroughs. Quite a few people have said, can we get a camera, like a little camera going through the corridors and that kind of thing. It's all coming. It's all there. Another common question is, if I'm building the whole interior, how are we going to see it? So again, it's all going to be built kind of like with cross sections and slide outs, so you can pull part of deck 6 away and look down into deck 7, that kind of thing. And another really common question that I get, I don't know why, fans seem to be kind of obsessed with this bowling alley thing in the secondary hull, and all I'm going to say to that is there is going to be a bowling alley on board this ship, as well as other recreational elements that we didn't see on the show. Okay, so I hope that answers some of those questions. Let's get into this video now. So the dorsal section, I went a bit bonkers the other day, as I seem to be doing with this build. So in the previous video you saw my take on the curvature on the saucer section, which I'm still working on, and that will be in one of the videos for sure as a more finished version of that curvature. But here for now, the enigma of the dorsal section. I mean, when you see it here like this, it looks quite big. But when you see it like this, I mean, it's super thin. And quite a few people are saying the TOS Enterprise, this is too thin. Some ways I tend to agree with that. It is super thin. It's just wide enough to get the turbo elevator shaft in it, with the squeezeways either side. So I don't know. This was a small model that I made to try to work out a major problem that I discovered with the decking, and I'll show you that now on the daddy version. Okay, So here's the daddy version. It's a little bit bigger, 1/25th scale. Our crew members here and here. So this is actually, this is not the whole of the dorsal section actually, as you probably guessed, because this is deck 14. Below deck 14 will be is deck 15, the secondary hull strongback that will hold this. So this is deck 14, deck 13, deck 12, the floor of deck 11. So we've got deck 10, deck 9, and deck 8 above this. So there's another 3 decks to go on this yet. So I'm really happy with this. I mean, it's kind of, when it gets up to this scale, it is thin. It's super thin, but when you see it at this size, you can see it is actually quite a substantial space in the ship. Let's go handheld, and I'll just give you a little tour of this model. Beginning right at the front of the dorsal, so this would be looking up towards the saucer section. Just going to go close in on that and see if I can give you an idea of the interior scale of this. So there we are, we're right at the front, looking down the length of deck 13, and you know, you can see it's a substantial space without a doubt. Super thin compared to the rest of the ship, but even so it's a substantial space. There's the deck space in between, down onto deck 14. Just going to sweep around here, and you can see that I've cut out the openings for the elevator shaft, and I made a model of one of the elevators yesterday, which I'll show you in a minute, and then moving to the back part of the dorsal there, up onto the next deck and the next deck. Let's take a look down the elevator shaft here, there. So we're looking down to deck 14. So of course this would come up a lot more. This hole here is a mistake that I made. I cut out the elevator shaft in the wrong position, so it didn't line up. And again, this particular model is like super. This really is just a sketch, a 3D sketch. And again, I'm super glad that I did it, because making this model, there is an irreconcilable problem with it, and it's to do with the shape of the decks. So here, let me show you this. So if you look right down over the top of it, the shape of the decks don't make sense if you're going to put an outer shell on it. They don't fit, because it's kind of this shape. And I'm super happy, because I was looking at a YouTube video of someone who made a wonderful build of the AMT original 1701, and the shape of the deck in the dorsal section is not this shape, it's just straight. The walls are straight until you get to the end here, where it tapers round. And that makes a lot of sense, because then you don't have this. See, the problem with this is every time you push the deck forward, it just misaligns. The alignment isn't right. So putting the outer shell on just doesn't work. So I want to do the final build, and I'm sure I might just do another test model as well with straight walls instead of this kind of strange curvature in the wall. I'm sure when I get to do the final model, it will align perfectly. In fact, I will make sure it aligns perfectly. Alright, let me show you the little turbo lift that I made. There's Captain Kirk stood in the turbo elevator, and again this also is 1/25th scale. Put this together last night. I'm quite happy with it. I've kept some of the part of the wall panelling off here so that you can see inside, and this is also how it will be in the finished model as well, with some of the walls removed so that you can see inside, such as the turbo elevator. I did build a ceiling for this here, and this is my idea of how these things will travel around in the ship. My idea is that they are not attached to anything. So if we come across here and have a look at this, I built this with an idea that this is kind of the tube that it would travel on. And see these lines travelling down. I get the idea that these might be something to do with like a gravitational shift, like they would have sensors on them. And maybe this thing on the top is acting very much like the way a magnet acts, except we'd be working with gravity, because, you know, if you're in a weightless environment where gravity is artificial, then you can turn that gravity off, and these turbo elevators will be like free floating within the elevator tubes. And then of course when they get the instruction to travel somewhere, then this top gravitational attractor will move towards another attractor at the destination where the turbo elevator is travelling to. So that's my idea on how these things might work in the ship. So quite happy with that model. It's got no doors on it yet. I'll put some doors on it, and see these little handles. I'm really happy about that, because like one of the things that I said about the 1/25th scale is it's kind of small enough to work with, although a lot of people will disagree with me with a 40-foot ship. But it's big enough to work with, and it's big enough to get detailing. And see those handles that you get hold of to activate the lift? They are just tiny little pieces of paper stuck on, but it just gives the right effect. It gets the right effect. It's not actually a handle, it's just tiny bits of paper stuck on to those wall mountings. So I think that's about it really for this video. Just have another quick look down there and finish with a sweep of that daddy dorsal. Okay, look at that. You can just envisage that as the Enterprise, and what I've done here is I've placed that very small portion of deck 7 and deck 6 on the dorsal here, and it's actually balancing at the moment, so I'm just being super careful around this. But I just want to show you how this will really give you an idea of what the finished model is going to start looking like. So here, coming around the back, oh, look at that, look at that. And then we're going to travel up from the dorsal section up to deck 7 through to deck 6, and then we're going to start looking down on the whole thing from above. Okay, so there it is. Now of course on the finished model, this area of the saucer section here will be the impulse engine deck, and not the briefing room and the crew quarters that you can see now. It will be the impulse engine deck, and yes, I'm going to have 2 engine rooms on this Enterprise. One in the saucer section for the impulse engines, and one down in the secondary hull for the warp engines. Okay, so we're just sweeping down here, passing down again through deck 7. Again, there's those enormous support structures, main support structures of the saucer section. Don't forget, if you like these videos and you want to support this mission, subscribe to the channel. Lots of new subscribers coming in, so thank you so much for giving your support and your positive energy to this mission. And I'll see you soon in the next video. So I'm wanting to, in the next video, I'll probably show you the completed version of this dorsal section, but also I want to show you the finished version of the curvature under the saucer section, the curvature from deck 7. That's another enigma about this ship. As always, I hope the video finds you well, and I look forward to presenting the next video in some days. Bye for now. Hey, before I go though, I almost forgot about this. A big shout out and a big thank you to Scale Icons. They have their own YouTube channel. They're making some really good stuff. I've put a link in the description to their YouTube channel. But on another platform, I post sometimes just images on other platforms of the build. And the latest image that I posted was of the dorsal section, and they just shared it in their page and gave a really wonderful comment about what I'm doing and the mission to build this ship. So thank you to Scale Icons, and all the best to you and your channel.